Airfare, 0. Hotel, 0. Transportation, 0. Admission fees, 0. Total travel expenses, 0. Yes, once again, this trip is completely free. When I tell people we travel without spending money, they usually don't believe me. Are you living in the US? If so, just follow what we do. Then you can take your family almost anywhere in the world for free. How does a free international vacation sound? Hi, we're a family living in Washington, D.C. Thanks to my husband's stable job, we don't have major financial concerns. But we don't exactly have the freedom to take international trips whenever we feel like it. That's why we became interested in traveling abroad while minimizing the amount of money we spend. In the past 5 years, our family has visited Hawaii, the Dominican Republic, London, Paris, the U.S. West Coast, Orlando, New York, Jamaica, the Netherlands, and Italy. And for most of those trips, our total spending was either 0 or under $500.
Wow.
Of course, it sounds unbelievable. You usually only hear things like this in overhyped or fake ads. That's exactly why we're making this video, so we can show you step by step how this trip came together. What makes all of this possible? The massive credit card points issued by U.S. banks, and how flexible and transferable they are, especially when paired with airline and hotel programs around the world. If you live outside the U.S., this might sound unfamiliar, but it works because credit card companies in the U.S. make huge profits. For this trip, we used 4 different credit cards, or, to be more precise, we used a combination of points and benefits from 4 cards. So where are we headed? The destination is Egypt. It was supposed to be a trip for all 3 of us, Dad, Mom, and our teenage son. But unexpectedly, I had to stay in Korea for surgery. So for the first time in our family's history, this trip is just the father and son. I'm a little worried, but I really hope they create some unforgettable memories together. Even when you use points, there are still a few things you'll need to pay for out of pocket. So we've set a spending goal for this trip. Right now, the exchange rate in Egypt is actually pretty good. A few years ago, 100 Egyptian pounds was about $6. These days, it's closer to 2. So basically, everything's about 1/3 the price compared to before. Breakfast will be covered by the hotel. Lunch and dinner, we'll keep those simple and affordable. We're planning to cover most activities and sightseeing using points. So the only real expenses will be meals, a few tickets, and some tips here and there. Considering that, we've set our total travel budget for 2 people at $500. But, just like always, we're aiming to bring that number down to 0 too. That's what a truly free trip looks like, and we'll show you exactly how to do it. Let's start by saving on airport transportation. We took an Uber from our house to Washington Dulles Airport, which is about 25 minutes away. The fare was $33, but we used a benefit from the American Express Gold Card. It gives us $10 in Uber credit every month, so 33 minus 10, that's 23. That's our first expense. Total so far, $23. Once they got to the airport, they headed straight for the lounge. The 2 went to the United Club Lounge. Thanks to the United Explorer card from Chase, we get 2 United Club passes each year. You can also use them if you're flying with any Star Alliance airline. It's a great perk for our family. They said the food wasn't amazing, but also not bad. And without Mom, it was a solid pre-flight meal. Their flight was with Egypt Air, a nonstop from Washington Dulles to Cairo International Airport. And yes, they booked it for free using airline miles. It still feels surreal to book international flights with miles, especially when you didn't earn those miles by flying, but by using credit card points. Every time we actually get on the plane, there's this little wave of relief, like, wow, it actually worked. My husband probably felt the same. Free travel really does feel good. So how did we book this EgyptAir flight? We used 80,000 Amex membership rewards points per person, 160,000 in total. We'll go deeper into this in another video, but usually when you open an Amex Gold card, the sign-up bonus is 60,000 to 80,000 points, sometimes 90,000 during promos. We got 90,000 points from one sign-up and earned the rest through Amex promotions. I'll share more details about these promotions later on. American Express has 18 airline partners. You can transfer your points to any of them and use their mileage programs to book tickets. But EgyptAir isn't one of Amex's partners. So how did we get on a direct EgyptAir flight? Well, Amex is partnered with Air Canada, and Air Canada is a partner of EgyptAir. So we transferred our points to Air Canada and then used Air Canada's website to book the EgyptAir flight. This kind of indirect method works all around the world. You don't need to stick with just one airline's mileage program anymore. When I flew to Korea not long ago, I used Alaska Airlines miles to book a Korean air ticket, also free, and also from credit card points. I'll cover that one in detail in another video. Using points for flights is by far the best value. Some people cash them out, but it's really not worth it. Let's take Amex as an example. 100,000 Amex points gets you about $600 in cash. But if you use them for airline miles, it could be worth 100,000 miles or more. A one-way ticket to Asia usually costs around 40,000 miles. So that's a full round trip. We could have taken our 160,000 points and gotten around $1,000 in cash. But instead, we used them for 2 round-trip tickets to Egypt, flights that would have cost $2,300 total. Flights to the Middle East and Africa often have lots of children. My husband picked seats in the back, hoping for empty rows, but it turned out they seated families with babies there. 4 kids cried through the whole flight. They landed in Cairo at 4:30 a.m. Visa fees were $25 per person, $50 total. Since Egypt depends on tourism, immigration didn't even ask a single question. Right outside the airport, they were approached by tons of taxi drivers. Thankfully, Uber works in Cairo. They took a ride to the hotel for just 186 Egyptian pounds, about $4. Let's pause here for a quick briefing on the trip. On days 1 and 2, they'll stay in Cairo and visit major sites, including the ancient Saqqara Pyramid and the newly opened Grand Egyptian Museum. Day 3, they'll head to Alexandria to explore Roman-era ruins and stay overnight. Days 4 and 5 will be spent in Giza, home of the famous Great Pyramid. Days 6 and 7 are for Luxor, where they'll explore ancient tombs and temples of the pharaohs. Then finally, Day 8, they return to Cairo and fly back home. Once again, all of it free. Now let's talk about hotels. Since this trip includes 4 destinations, we booked 4 hotels. 3 of them are Hilton properties. Why Hilton? 2 reasons. First, we already had a lot of Hilton points. Second, we expected to get great value from Hilton properties in Egypt. This is something you can do too. All you need is a Hilton credit card. For the first 2 nights, we booked the Ramses Hilton in downtown Cairo. It's a 5-star hotel and pretty upscale. We booked the standard room, the lowest tier, using 30,000 points per night. Our family had saved up over 550,000 Hilton points before this trip, so spending 60,000 points for 2 nights was no problem. The cash price would have been around $500 to $600. They arrived at 6 a.m. It was too early to check in, but my husband asked anyway. The front desk told him to come back in an hour, and they'd try to get them a room sooner if possible. Our son was hungry, so my husband ran down to the hotel Starbucks and bought him a quick breakfast. After eating some bread, our son fell asleep on a sofa in the hotel lobby. That Starbucks meal cost 437 Egyptian pounds, about $8.50. So far, our total expenses are $85.50. An hour later, they got great news. The room still wasn't ready, but they were upgraded to an executive room. That meant they could head upstairs to the top floor and check in at the executive desk. Executive rooms come with access to the executive lounge, free snacks, drinks, and light meals throughout the day, which is huge because it means they can eat both breakfast and dinner there. They were told they could go ahead and enjoy the breakfast buffet in the lounge while waiting. If they'd known that, they wouldn't have bought Starbucks earlier. Now, let me show you the room they stayed in. It's a standard room, but the view is stunning. You can even see the pyramids in the distance. We booked the lowest tier room with 30,000 points, but they ended up getting 5 levels of upgrades: executive lounge access, a high floor, and a Nile River view. Normally, the cheapest rooms in this hotel are on lower floors or face the city, not the river. This upgrade wasn't random. It came from having the American Express Hilton credit card. American Express issues 3 Hilton cards. The most premium one, Aspire, comes with a $550 annual fee. But the other 2 are very affordable and easy to get approved for. The mid-tier one is called the Surpass card. One major perk is that it gives you automatic Hilton Gold status. In the US, there are a lot of Gold members, so it's not that special. But in countries like Egypt, it's a big deal. There, you'd normally need to stay 60 nights to qualify for Gold status. Our family got it just by signing up for a credit card. And remember, the points we used for the stay came from that card too. Sign-up bonuses from Hilton cards are usually between 100,000 and 170,000 points. If a couple signs up for 2 cards and uses referral bonuses, you can easily earn 700,000 points total. That's enough for over 20 nights at this hotel. I'll share a detailed video about Hilton cards soon. So far, things are off to a great start. They arrived safely, got a room upgrade, and dinner is free thanks to lounge access. In the next video, we'll show you how they explored Cairo without spending a single dollar. Thanks for watching. We're PoinTrippers.